I stared at the sight before me, my legs going weak. I dropped it back in the drawer. I took a couple of steps backward, my back coming to rest on the cool wall. As the first tear leaked from the corner of my eye, I sank to the floor, my bottom coming to rest on the tiled hallway floor. I pulled my knees up and my head bent, my forehead coming to rest on my knees. Tears flowed freely now. Why me? What had I done in life to deserve this, and more importantly, how was I going to explain it? Did I even want to? Could I just leave it and go on as part of me wanted to do and just ignore what I had just seen? I had another chance at happiness, why waste it? But on the other hand, this was big. Melanie Foster and Alan Baird were childhood sweethearts. They met at the age of 13 and were an item right through the school years they spent together. Both had dreams of further education and a life together, the house, the car, the well-paid jobs, and eventually a family. All that changed one evening at a party organized by a friend to celebrate the coming end of the school year and the jump into adulthood. Like all teenage parties, alcohol was on the menu and young adults were experimenting with drinks before venturing out into the big bad world. Melanie and Alan were no different, but this time their experiment went a little further than intended. Having sampled various drinks over the evening, things began to get a little blurred and steamy, and soon they both found themselves in an unoccupied bedroom. One thing led to another, and the virgin pair both became adults that night. The result, as you have probably guessed by now, was me, Connor Foster. The other result was of course a drastic rethink on future plans. The jobs, the car, the house were all dreams, but were shifted significantly down the pecking order. The strain took its toll on both, and within a couple of years of me being born, Melanie became a single-parent family. I never really found out the reason why that my father had left my mother, only that he had. The rock of the family then became my grandmother. Mother had to become a breadwinner, and she did that finding work in a local factory. So, it was left to my grandmother to look after me on a day-to-day basis as I grew up. She was my idol, my rock, and my inspiration. She had retired a few years before, having been a talented seamstress in the same factory now employing my mother. I remember watching her doing work brought to her by locals to have done by her, the additional money topping up her pension, and even some finding its way into my pocket for sweets as I reached school age. I would return from school and find her hunched over a machine fixing a skirt, a dress, or some trousers as a cigarette burned away in an ashtray by her side. She would greet me, and inevitably there would be a snack or even dinner waiting to be eaten as soon as I got home. Sometimes when she was working on children's clothes, she would hold a dress up in front of me or ask me to try a pair of trousers to see if the length was right. As time went on, I seemed to be spending more time with her than at home. Little ears picked things up, and on occasions when I was supposed to be sleeping or out of earshot, I would hear her arguing with me mother over something called drink or man friends. I didn't fully understand, but knew it must be serious enough to have her get upset with me mother. Most weekends I would spend with my mother. She would take me into town, and sometimes we would be alone, or on other occasions she would meet girls from the factory who would sit and chatter about boyfriends and nights out and other things I did not understand as we sat in cafes as they smoked and drank coffee. At school I was the quiet child. I found it difficult to mix with a lot of the other kids. The one person I did gel with though was a girl called Catherine Rennie, who lived just a couple of 100 yards from my grandmother's. We would meet and walk in together and then walk home together, my grandmother and mother joking about me having a girlfriend, but in truth it was never like that between the two of us. We just both seemed to be outsiders who found a place together. As we got older, I think it was Catherine who first sensed that there was something different about me. We reached our teenage years and we spent weekends together. We would go into town and spend a few hours in and around the shops buying the things teenagers do: records, clothes, early makeup for the teenage girl, and when asked I always had advice for Catherine and what suited her. At home I was still spending more time at my grandmother's than home. Mother had her share of boyfriends and I was kept away from it, my grandmother telling her as I overheard that different men coming and going was no way for a boy to be brought up. So, I spent my time with Christine, the odd sleepover at her house or back to my grandmother's. Things changed a little when I had just reached 15. Catherine's father was in the army and her mother had been a stay-at-home wife, but with Catherine now being older and being able to fend a little bit more for herself, her mother, tired of being at home, decided it was time for her to go back to work. Initially, she found a job on Saturday, which meant that we had all day to ourselves, and one particularly rainy afternoon my life would change forever. I had a sleepover with Christine, intending the next day we would go bowling or skating. Instead, the weather turned nasty, and after getting breakfast from her mother, we had the day to ourselves. It was then that Catherine sprang her idea. "Connor, are you up for playing a game?" "Sure, the weather is crap inside. What did you have in mind?" "Well, I thought we could play a dress-up game." I looked confused. "I dress up as you and you dress up as me." "That would just be silly." "Well, what else do you want to do? It will pass the time, and neither of us want to go out in that weather." The die was cast, and so it began. I had packed some extra clothes in a bag, a pair of jeans, a shirt, socks, underwear, all to change into if we had been going out, but dressed in just what I had arrived in the night before. It was all fresh. "Okay, I will look out some stuff for you. There is a dressing gown in the wardrobe. It's just plain black. Strip off and put that one." "What, naked you mean?" She nodded and pulled me towards the bedrooms. Opening the wardrobe, she reached in and pulled out the black garment. "Here, take this and go and change in the bathroom." I left and stripped down. Just as I was about to return, there was a knock at the door. "You decent?" she called. "Yes." "Okay." The door popped open. "Here, take these and put them on." I looked at what she handed me before she left. It was a pair of light blue panties with dark blue heart shapes on them and a matching bra. This was madness, I thought, but I had to go ahead as we had agreed. I pulled on the panties and then, with some difficulty with the bra, managed to get it on the correct way and fastened at the back. I covered them with the dressing gown and padded over the hallway. "Okay, now I won't look, but put these on." She handed me some flesh-colored tights and a white denim skirt and a pale blue blouse. She picked up my bag. "I'm just going to nip to the bathroom and change. Is your fresh stuff in here?" "Yeah." "Okay, won't be long." I pulled on the skirt. I struggled to get the zip up, then remembered seeing my mother pull it to the side and zip it up before sliding it back round. I pulled on the tights and then the blouse and sat on the bed. A few minutes later, Catherine returned with just jeans and shirt on and her hair wet and slicked back like a boy. I laughed as he came in before the full extent of my day was about to be reveled. "Come on," she said as she pulled me up by the hand. "Where are we going?" "Mom's room," she said. Inside, she had me sit by the dresser. "What are we doing?" I asked. "Just a little makeup." I never agreed to that. "Oh, go with the flow. We have plenty of time to get cleaned back up." I sat there while she pulled open a drawer, took out some palettes and other items, and began to work on my face. In about half an hour, she had finished with a pink lipstick. "They're not. Just sit still a minute." I heard her rummaging about, and then the words, "Ah, here it is." She came behind me and, pulling back hair, she said, "Shut your eyes." I felt her pulling on my hat and pushing and sorting something on my head. "Okay, you can open now." She lifted a mirror and put in front of me. My mouth fell open. "Look the part, don't you? No one would ever know it's not a teenage girl." Looking back at them, she was right. The slight teenage skin imperfections had been ironed out. My skin was flawless. My eyes had shadow in 2 shades of pink, and some mascara made my lashes look fuller, and my lips had been coated in a pink lipstick with a slight shine to it. "Let's go have some lunch," she said. "We have loads of time before we need to change back." We went downstairs and I fiddled about in the kitchen, making us some bacon and buttering rolls as she watched. Catherine was a self-confessed basket case in the kitchen, so it was left to me to make lunch. "You look quite the little housewife," she said with a laugh as I finished off preparations and served her lunch. We sat eating before. After a short period, she asked, "Connor, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Are you gay?" I blushed. "I don't know. Why do you ask?" Well, it's just when we have been out shopping you always have an opinion on the clothes, shoes, makeup I should buy, and it's usually good advice. I just wondered, and in all the time I've known you have never really been into boys' interests. I just dash what? I just prefer girls' stuff, you know, the clothes, the makeup, all the different styles, colors, you know. She nodded. So do you feel comfortable dressed as me? I nodded. Okay, then we will do it again. That statement opened the gate on a path that I was destined to walk down. Our little impromptu dressing sessions continued. Not wanting to have to use Catherine's clothing all the time, some of our Saturday shopping trips had been devoted to my buying some stuff. Well, her really, but under my direction as we strolled through shops, being of a similar build and size, then no one real suspected the stuff she was buying was not really for her. The internet had also been of great use, and I had invested in a pair of rather realistic, if maybe slightly too big, breast forms, but hey, I fancied being busty. One thing though was missing. While the cat had got out the bag about my dressing, Kim, as I was now know, had not got out the house. It was Catherine who raised the subject first. You know, Kim, it's all very well dressing at home, but would it not be better to go outside? I mean, there are times when you are dressed, I don't even recognize you. She had a point, as watching endless makeup tutorials had made me pretty skillful in its uses, and I even amazed myself some time. You're right, but where could we go? Well, I have an idea. Mom is taking on some extra work in the lead up to Christmas. She's going to be working some weeknights, and from what she was saying it's from 5 to 11 p.m., so she won't be back before at least midnight. So if you came over after school, we could say you were going to study, then we could skip out after she has gone, jump on a bus and go to the pictures. The film would be finished and we would be back in plenty time before she gets home. You might have a plan there. So with 10 days to Christmas, I found myself heading over to Catherine's after school. Her mother had made us some dinner as she busied herself getting ready for her evening at work. Okay, there's a couple of snacks in the fridge and some fruit juice or Coke in there, so you two be good. She kissed Catherine on the cheek, and you be in bed by the time I get home. Okay, Mum, Catherine replied as she put the last of the dinner dishes away. The door closed. Right, let's get going. An hour later, we were both ready for our first outdoor adventure. I was dressed in a little black pleated skirt. I had bought a white t-shirt with a red heart on the front. A denim jacket, some tights, and a pair of 3-inch heel black shoes finished the outfit. I had toned down my makeup a little from some of the styles I had tried from the internet, but it looked fine and passable to me. Catherine had a blue denim skirt, a pink blouse, and a similar denim jacket to me. She had loaned me a purse, so I popped my money in it and for the first time stepped out the door as Kim. Halfway to the bus stop, Catherine pulled out a pack of cigarettes from her pocket. See what I liberated from Mom's bag, she said a few yards from the bus stop. Won't she miss them? No, not really, she hasn't so far as it was a couple of days ago. I took them. It was a short bus ride into town. We walked down to the cinema, finding a little secluded corner. We both smoked a cigarette, careful not to get spotted by anyone we knew. We had already decided to go and see The English Patient and queued up to, but tickets. No one gave us a second glance, just two girls going to the movies. As nervous as I had been on that short walk from the house to the bus stop, I was beginning to settle down. Inside, the film was okay, but not as good as we had expected. On leaving the cinema, Catherine suggested a snack before heading home. We found a local fish and chip shop and smoked our second cigarette of the night. We were just about to go in to buy our snack when... Hey, Catherine. She turned to see Scott Davies, one of our school chums, walking along the road accompanied by his friend Craig Foster. Now Catherine, I knew, had a thing for Scott. She was just reaching the age when boys became important. Oh, hi Scott. What are you up to? Oh, we were just at the cinema, just getting a snack before heading home. Oh, right, so were we. What do you want? I'll treat you. No, you don't have to. I insist. He looked at me. This is Kim. She is at Calder Valley School. She used to go to my primary. We kept in touch. Oh, hi Kim. He shook my hand. So, what is it? 2 bags of chips. Yeah, okay, Catherine said as the two boys stepped inside the shop. A few minutes later they had three emerged and insisted in walking us to the bus stop. We strolled along, Catherine and Scott chatting away, me staying silent as we stopped close to the terminal. Scott and Catherine were a few yards away from us. Me and Craig just sat and finished our snack. Both of them were chatting and laughing away for about 10 minutes till our bus came round the corner. To my surprise, Scott leaned in and kissed Catherine. She responded. Okay, that's a date then, he said as she walked towards me. It is. Craig stood and it looked like he expected the same. I said thanks for the chips and went to plant a kiss on his cheek just as he turned and I felt my lips on his. Flustered, I backed away and stepped on the bus I had just had in first kiss. As we sat and waved goodbye, Catherine announced, I've got a date on Saturday. Thankfully, Catherine harbored no idea of it becoming a foursome, and on Saturday she duly went out with Scott and was bursting to tell me all about it as we walked to school. Once all the details were over, she said, oh, by the way, Scott has 3 tickets for the Genuines gig at the town hall in a few weeks. He asked me to go and I said you would take the other ticket. You said what? It will be cool, I know you like them, keep us company. 3's a crowd, I said. Look, I wouldn't have said okay if Craig was going. He's not, it's just us. I saw how awkward you were with the kiss. Well, if I do want to kiss someone as Kim, it won't be someone I pass by every day at school. Yeah, you're probably right, she laughed. So will you go? Okay, I said, looks like Kim has another outing. Saturday followed the usual ritual. I went to Catherine's, her mom went to work, and we began Kim's transformation mode. I had stopped off at a local charity shop during the week and picked up a couple of items for the concert, a little leather skirt and a black lacy blouse. Within about 45 minutes both of us were ready and heading out the door. I had plundered my little bank account. Gran had set up for me, well, only a small withdrawal to treat us to a taxi ride to the concert, and a pack of our own cigarettes instead of knockoff from Catherine's mom. The taxi ride was quick and I even spotted the driver giving us both the once-over as we sat in the back. On arrival, Scott was standing with tickets in hand. We had a quick cigarette and then it was into the venue. It was packed, to be honest, not one person took notice of little old me as we sang and danced our way through the concert. It had been a great night that was about to turn sour. We left the venue and headed to a local carry-out shop to grab a late-night snack, naturally as all young lovers do, and Christine and Scott needed some quality time together, so me being the spare wheel was left on my own with my snack. I found a little seat a short distance away from where they had secreted themselves and sat quietly alone away from the buzz around the takeaway. I lit a cigarette and sat back, still buzzing from the concert and this newfound life for Kim. Hey babe. I looked up. A guy appeared just a yard or so from me. You on your own? No. Just waiting on my friend, I said. Okay, I will keep you company till she gets back. He sat down beside me. Here, have a drink of this, he said, offering me a bottle. No, thanks. Oh, go on, won't hurt, he repeated, pushing it towards me. I took the bottle and took a sip. It was bitter, burned on my throat. I coughed a little. Good stuff, he said, smiling as he took the bottle back and took a large swig. The conversation went on. I laughed at his jokes, took another couple of drinks. Where the hell was Christine? Looks like you have been abandoned, he said, standing up. No, she will be back in a minute. She's with her boyfriend. Making out time. Well, if she's anything like you, they could be a while. Thanks. Why did I say that? Come on, we will try to find them. He offered me his hand. Silly me took it and stood. I walked beside him. We headed towards where Christine had gone earlier. We had only gone a short distance when he turned into an alley. Probably in here, he said. I took a few steps in and then he pounced. He was all over me, smashing me against a wall. The air escaped from my mouth before his lips covered them, pushing me back, his hand on a downward spiral as he held one hand roughly against the wall. I had to stop him. My hand gripped his wrist. He was too strong. He managed to free it. Soon between my legs he pulled at the underwear and then... What the fuck? He stepped back a foot. You're a fucking bloke. The first punch caught me on the edge of the nose and my upper eyelid. The second square on my mouth. I could taste some blood. Had that been it, then I would have been okay, but as a slump down, the 4 or 5 kicks that followed did the damage. At least one crack could be heard as I lay on the floor, then silence. Kim, what happened? Scott, get an ambulance. I woke up. Only one eye appeared to be working as I lay back, bright lights hurting the other eye as it sprang into life. He's awake. I heard the faces of my grandmother appeared and my mother. You okay, Connor? My grandmother said. My side hurts, I said. You have a couple of broken ribs. Now go back to sleep and rest. We will take later. I drifted off back to sleep. Life as we knew it was about to change again. I was in hospital for a few days before being discharged. The whole period, just one long spell of embarrassment. Everywhere I looked I felt that everyone knew about the girl who had come and assaulted and turned out to be a boy. Whether they did or not I never knew, but that's the way it felt. What was worse was through interview by the police. Did I know the guy? How did we meet? Had I been drinking? Why had I gone up the alley with him? All reasonable questions and all answered honestly, but all the time I had the feeling they had made up their minds and some little sissy boy had got his comeuppance, and I was not about to complain of bitch about it, as I just wanted it all over and to be back home. Back home things were quiet. Mom could hardly look at me, and it was Gran who took the lead, fussing after me and making sure I recovered. What was worse was it looked like me and Christine were over, and from overheard discussions I could make out her mother had gone ballistic and blamed little old me from leading her astray, and I was now not welcome anymore. Surprisingly, it was my grandmother who, despite her advancing years, was the most understanding of my feelings. I think I know how you feel, Connor. Many years ago I had a friend who was a bit like you. It was even less acceptable then than it is now, and his life was made a living hell by people. What happened? I asked. Well, eventually it all got too much for him and he took his own life. She stopped, wavering on the sentence she had just repeated. That's awful. It is, and I just think if some of us had been a bit more supportive and helped him, it would never have come to that. Remember, you will always have me, so if the pressure gets too much for you, please talk to me. I will speak to your mother and see if I can make her understand a little better, but for now just you concentrate on getting well and we will talk again. The first chapter of my life had just ended, but there was much more to come.